Evening, everyone. It's 7:25 on Monday evening, January the 3rd, first full trading day of the year, and this is your video number 1089. Closing comments. Okay, so we had new record closes in the most narrow index that there is. The Dow Jones Industrials up to 46.76 or 0.7%, and one of the more widely used indexes, the S&P 500, that was up 30.38 or 0.64%. Advanced declines on the NYSE were 1.3 to 1 up. Over on the NASDAQ, they were 2.5 to 1 up, and volume ballooned today from the 3.5, 3.6 range back up to 4.3 billion. This is exactly what generally happens the first couple of days of any quarter. Certainly, the turn of the year is the biggest quarter. NASDAQ was up 187, 1.2%, as was the Russell, up 27.24, 1.21%. And the transports, led primarily by the over-the-road and rails, was down hard, 175.47 or 1.06%. Bonds turned down hard today. The 30-year bond was down 2.5 points. The 10-year yield went up 12 basis points from 151 to 163, which is pretty amazing. Tesla this morning had that news on their deliveries for the last quarter with a huge beat. I think that the number was, it was 309,000 versus 257 expected. The stock was up strong this morning, but nothing like at the close. When we talked about it this morning, it was 1131 up 75. It finished the day 1199.78 up 143 or 13.5%. One of the Nigerian brothers was on halftime today and talking about a $41 million spec on options expiring this Friday, the 1200s. And those closed about 35, up about 30. So a nice gain there. Amazon also strong, 34.08 up 74, 2.2%. And Apple crossed the 3 trillion market cap. And I have 2 words for that. Big deal. Doesn't really mean anything. It's arbitrary, and really, who cares? On the biotech side, we had a continuing sell-off. Pfizer was 56.65, down 240 or 4.1%. Bion was 231.85, down 25.95 or 10%. And Moderna, 235.05, down just under 19, 7.45%. But I really, only reason I even put that up there is to draw your attention to the fact that this stock traded just under 500 only 4 months ago. So a stock that everybody thought was going to be the ultimate winner here, and it was going to be $1,000 stock, and it's back at $235. Chart on the screen is the nat gas, which tonight, just this little dot there, tonight is down 7/100ths of a cent, 0.19%, after a nice rally both Friday and today. The rally on Friday took it up about 12 cents, and then today's rally took it up, 12.1 cents. In any event, we're along the UNG calls, and I think that this looks continuously higher. It has to hold these closes. Certainly last Thursday's close down at 341 and change. And I think that it will. I think that we can get a move. If we can regain this 200-day MA, I think that we have a shot at maybe 4.25, maybe as high as 4.5, especially if we get just any kind of extreme cold weather in Europe, which is where most of this is being shipped, Europe and Asia, but primarily Europe. The oil was up 81 cents today, and it was down hard this morning. As a matter of fact, overnight it was about unchanged, and it traded up initially, then it traded down hard all the way down to 74.27, as you can see. Then it turned back to the upside and closed pretty close to the high of the day. And that high of the day was, 76.46. So it traded in a range of well over $2.20 roughly. And tonight is basically unchanged, down 20 cents. This is an area that should be a little bit of a problem, but pulling back to this $74 area where it broke out and ran the last time is, I think, pretty meaningful. The one that got really pounded today was the gold, and I talked about that in this morning's opening comment and showed you the intraday and how hard it had come down. Also, in last night's video attached to the weekly letter, I told you I thought it could come all the way back down to 1800, maybe even 1795 before turning up. And this was today. It was actually higher, traded 1833, so solidly through that 1820 area we were talking about, and then traded all the way down to 1798.20, closed pretty close to the low, down 28.5. But just to give you a brief look at it, this was the intraday chart, and you can see here, if this chart ever comes up, you can see that we actually sold off very hard this morning. This was this morning, 6:30, 7 a.m., where we went from a high of 1822, and by late in the morning, we were all the way down at 1798. So, we had a $22 decline, $24 decline in roughly 2.5 hours. Tried to build back up towards the end of the day. We did close, with a little bit of a rally, but it was a pretty ugly day when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, as you can see. But this is an area of support, 1792. If we get back down there, I'd actually have to be a buyer of it. I haven't talked to Dennis yet tonight, so I don't know what his numbers look like, but I'd be satisfied to be a buyer down in that area. All right, everyone, have a good evening, and I'll be back first thing in the morning. Tomorrow we have the JOLTS number and some PMI, I believe.